I
Are we
swear, I'm
live?
gonna have to ask. I
Yes.
swear, I'm gonna have to ask that every time until we're like doing this in a room together, and I can actually see the button get pressed.
Yes. What button has been pressed? All of them. Alright, here we go. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Hell, probably should have done this the other way around.
Hello, everybody.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Meg Report. I'm Nick. This is Justin. Let's talk about some video games today. So, on the topic of video games today, we've got a little bit more of a question rather than a commentary on something. Well, no, it's a commentary on something, but it's a question about something much more simple than last week, which was I was about to say government conspiracy for some reason. Yes, that's right. The FBI has infiltrated the games industry, ladies and gentlemen. That is confirmed. The CIA and FBI are working together, and the games industry is their target.
They're
Red
watching
alert!
you.
Red alert! Joe Biden has targeted the industry.
They're
But
watching.
they're watching. You will be silenced.
Hmm.
But suddenly broadcast just cuts off. But no. This one is a lot simpler than what we did last week, which was what the heck was up with. What was it? Oh yes, it was up with. Why does the host not know his own episodes? Which was last week's, which was why did the kind of fallout of Microsoft publishing Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
It was a big topic. Didn't get us as many views as I'd like to admit. I'll say that on open camera, but we'll try. Not salty about that at all. That's just I'm kidding. Your viewership is quite enough for me as one YouTuber I like to know frequent, or one YouTuber I like to frequent says.
Yes.
So, what we are going to talk about today, all the way back to that point, long way to get here,
Game releases.
is exactly, in the words of our beloved editor and co-host, game releases. February. What the heck? Everything for some reason seems to have been pushed back from everywhere else to February this month specifically, or next month. I was debating about doing this next month or next week instead of this week because then we'd get into February, but then someone I know was like, nah, you probably do it before February.
Yeah.
So here we are. So what the heck? Why is everything out in February? For those who don't know, it's been weird because there are a lot of game releases that for some reason, for one reason or another, have all been pushed back to February. We're talking about things like, actually, I don't know if Horizon has been pushed back. I do know it's in February, but I don't know if it was pushed back to February. Dying Light, another game which actually comes out next week, which I'm pre-ordering, or Dying Light 2, I should say, has had many delays over the course of its development, which was actually supposed to come out, I think, back in 2019. Or 2020, I think. No, 2020. And then got pushed back indefinitely, and then more, and then more, and then more, until a few months back where they're like, okay, we've got a release date, and then they're like, oh, wait, new release date. It's in February now.
Yep.
Another example of this is actually, crap, let me put up my schedule, because I actually don't remember them all. It'd be kind of a dumb point if I'm like, all these games, and I only list two. There we go. Another big one. New Life is Strange is actually coming out in the beginning of February. I didn't even know that. Oh my goodness. Anyways, Horizon Forbidden West, February 18th. Destiny 2 Witch Queen also comes out in February, specifically the 22nd. Though I feel like that one was more just Destiny wanting to get a meme in of 22222.
Yeah.
Because in the 22nd month of the second year of 20 or second, of the 22nd
20
year.
day of the 20 month of the 20 year.
Yeah, kind of thing. They just wanted to meme it because Destiny 2, guys, right? I feel like that's more the reason for that, but still.
30th anniversary, guys. We gotta do a joke, aight?
We have to get that. We have to get the joke in. There's a running tally.
How many jokes can we get in per minute?
Go. Why the chicken cross the road? No.
You fool.
Back to basics. Anyways, and Elden Ring. Oh, Elden Ring. Sorry, I'm having to quote the trailer there. I can't help myself to do that recently. Another long-awaited game, which has been at the forefront of everyone's mind recently, kind of like what Cyberpunk was when during its time. Also is coming out in February, but that's February 25th in this one. So a lot of big releases coming out, all of which are sprinkled all amongst February, some of which have, in the case of, like, for example, Dying Light, been pushed back into February specifically. And there's a bunch of other stuff we're looking at here, too. I'm looking at just Opera GX, kind of weird shout out to that browser because of its game release calendar. And I'm just looking at some of the things we have here. In fact, according to this, I'm just seeing another Kingdom Hearts game is coming out in February too. Oh, good God. What are we on? 256th iteration of that game at this point?
Yeah.
It's becoming like Final Fantasy.
Just a bit. Just.
And considering it's made by the same dudes, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Push the series. Push it.
Bullshit. Oh my goodness. The only game that I don't see that is coming out that is a somewhat influential one is Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is coming out January 28th, but that is literally the day before the freaking February starts, so, well, not a day, it's like 3 days, so.
It's still close enough.
Still close enough, we'll add it in here for posterity. So anyways, a lot of games, a lot of big name games, a lot of big title games, all of which coming out in February. Also, why the heck is the Ezio collection coming out in February? I thought that was already it. Oh no, that's for Switch, that's why. Okay.
Yes.
Anyways, so point is, a lot of big games, a lot of big names, all of which for some reason have entered to February. Why? Let's talk about that. What do you think? Before I go on to my tangent, what do you think about it?
I have a feeling that at least one or two companies went and got together before they released their games, and they're like, okay, if we simultaneously release our games together, it might go and influence our audiences into like getting our stuff at the same time. It might help us. And then other companies found out about that, and they're like, hey, I need my money too. How dare you try to get your money before I get my money? So they're getting in on it as well.
It's an interesting idea. Historically speaking, there actually has been a lot of precedent for game companies trying to space out their games from each other intentionally. Like, for example, take Cyberpunk 2077 as an interesting example of that. Everyone expected Cyberpunk to be such a big seller that games would even push themselves back from the release date when Cyberpunk announced its release date to keep themselves away from that. Because game companies typically don't like competition with each other because then it just decreases the value of everyone overall because now everyone has to feud between this game or that game.
It's just the only reason why I think that they're trying to release together is mainly because of the fact that it's more of a, if they start going and making their money now, then I'm not going to make my money. I don't know.
It's certainly
weird
an
to
idea.
think about, but yeah.
It's certainly an idea that's worth considering. Another possible theory that I've been thinking of myself is that they want to get it in on the first quarter of the year, right? Why everything is specifically in February, I think only they really decide. Maybe they think January was too early in the year, so they just kind of went with the second month instead of the third because there are 3 quarters in a year, which is business talk because every time when we're talking about money when it comes to things like shareholders, for example, there's annual quarters that, of course, they do their business in, 3 of them specifically. So they're probably trying to get it in on the first quarter of the year, just to get it in as soon as possible.
Probably.
Though, considering there are a lot of big name games coming out next month, it'll be quite jam-packed. My financial calendar is already being stretched quite a bit. Though, considering that means there might not be much for the rest of the year, although we don't actually know. As far as we know, February is as far as anyone's thinking, at least in terms of the big names.
Probably. Yeah, I don't see it going any higher than that.
So, with that in mind, a lot of things.
Plenty to know, plenty to do.
Insert that meme. The more you know. Anyway.
Yes.
But, still, with all these big name games coming out, there is of course the question of, finances, as I brought up before, and how that's going to reflect each other's sales numbers because of how much the month is packed. Like I said, usually games try to space themselves out to avoid things like this, but for whatever reason, they've all jam-packed themselves into 1 month. So it's probably going to be interesting to see people's, shall we say, pocketbooks at the end of the month. Like I said, Elden Ring, for example, is coming out next month, and that alone is, I think, like 79 Canadian, which is standard going rate these days.
Yeah.
And then there's, like I said, Dying Light, that's coming out next week. And, well, I don't know if Destiny's in an interesting spot, because Destiny is a pre-order thing, right?
Yeah.
And since it's an e-purchase, you can really get it now or get it later, though let's be honest, most people who are into Destiny are probably going to get it beforehand.
Just
so
a
you can
bit.
get it way before. But again, it's...
Yeah. Yeah.
I swear I had enough. I feel like I have more for this piece, but it sounds like I'm just going to be rambling on this one topic. But...
My mind is an enigma. I mean, that's the big thing. Like, it's weird to think about because I mean, companies do want to go and separate like their release dates. So what is it that is making them want to actually release at the same time? Like, what is it that they're doing? Like, why release now?
Yeah, it is interesting that everyone was like, okay, we'll push it back to February specifically. Like, these are games that, again, for example, Dying Light was in December, then it got pushed back to February. And I don't know, I'm actually going to look that up now, if Horizon actually had another release date, but then they pushed it back. I can't remember, actually. Hold, please, as I research in real time.
Yes, researching. Science, do not worry.
Science. Okay, there is a piece that it was delayed to February 18th. Okay, here we go. Yep. It was according to The Verge. In fact, I probably should have this quoted in the article, but I didn't expect to use this article. So forgive us if we don't have this one in the quote in the pinned comments for your reading. However, according to The Verge, Horizon was meant to launch in late 2021, but they pushed it back to February 18th, 2022. So another game, another big name game. In fact, this is one of Sony's recently made crown jewels for the PlayStation that they pushed back into February. So there's another example.
Something's going on here.
And again, it could be just as simple as them all trying to get into the first quarter, but it is a little weird that they're all like February specifically. You'd think they try to space out a little, like let's say March or something like that. It's not unusual for games to get delayed, especially now. In fact, you could probably argue that, COVID having recently created a lot of... I said the word. There goes our demonetization.
Elimination detected.
Actually, no. We're not big enough for monetization. So, haha, YouTube.
Yep. You can't demonetize what cannot be demonetized.
You can't take money away from the broke. Oh, wait. But yeah, again, you could say that due to COVID, there's the whole recent problem of shipping and getting everything out on time, and maybe they thought they couldn't meet their deadlines. But usually the games industry's had a little bit of time to adapt to this already. Though, admittedly, they did start saying back in 2020 that we'd start seeing those delays and stuff come in, say, 2021.
Yeah.
Is when you start seeing those delays come in. And while we did see a lot of delays in 2021, it seems recently we've seen games all across the board just get delayed to February.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting question of like, why February specifically? You could say again it was to get it into the second quarter of the year or first quarter of the year to get their profits in. But then why not push it back to March, which is still within that first quarter, though admittedly near the end. That way they're not fighting for competition. Could this mean that the games industry has expecting bigger games to come out later in the year? Possibly. Shush phone.
Silence.
Silence! I kill you! Anyways.
Alright. Well,
I EMP you. Anyways, but...
Yeah. It's weird to think about, really.
admittedly a lot more of a chill topic today because there's not really much you can. Again, there really isn't much you can say on it, though. I
No.
suspect because it is that question of just why you can sit here and like, there's a few reasons, but yeah,
There's
it is
only
an
so
interesting
much you can
question.
really speculate for it, really.
You could say it has to do with COVID, which is one possible reason. Working from home has caused complications, which has forced weirdly a bunch of studios to delay.
Yeah. But at that,
Um,
but with that regard, there's only so much delaying that a software company and all that can do. When in reality, at least some of the things that can be done at home.
well, we'd like to say that, but then
Well, there's
things like No
there
Man's
yeah, like
Sky
there are
has
some
things like Star
very
Citizen exist.
yeah, it's like no, there are some very
Release date
specific
never.
yeah, it's like there are some very specific things that can only be done like internally networked. That way, certain things don't get leaked, but still.
And like I said, we could sit here and bring up Destiny, but as I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this piece, and I will not even lie, kind of figured out, if you were listening, you could even hear my thinking in real time of that one, where I'm thinking now they're probably just doing it for the just for the meme
A
of two two
joke and
two
all
two
that.
two 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 two, yeah,
Yeah.
which feels like something I do, but still. And like I said, Elden Ring has been long awaited, so that being in February as well is. You'd think people would work around that, but maybe they're not. Maybe the games industry isn't as concerned for that game as they are, or they were with things like Cyberpunk, which turned out to be a major flop. Now they're just maybe hedging their bets and being like, eh. Though, admittedly, I just thought now, there
Hmm.
is one thing I heard near the beginning when everything started getting delayed, which is they don't want to be the next Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That's actually a nice kind of jumping off point into a next kind of little discussion piece on this segment, which is another possible reason, I'm saying that a lot now. They all want more time to get their games good, so to speak. After the whole debauchery that was Cyberpunk, which came out last year sometime, I don't even remember at this point. Or was it? No, it was the year before that. Actually, no, wait, now I forgot. I don't even remember when Cyberpunk came out. God dang it.
Well done.
So many releases and I can't even remember when that is.
Well, it it's something that needs to be figured out. That's for sure.
Ah, that's why. When all these, well, it came out in 2020. Well, no initial release date. Hold on, let me figure that out. Yeesh. The problem with game releases is that they're a pain in the neck to get a.
To figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. It was December 10th of 2020. But I think the reason everyone was thinking about that is because we started seeing all these release dates after I think around the time of another flop.
Hmm.
And so it kind of startled the industry, and now the word kind of going around is they don't want to be the next Cyberpunk. So everyone kind of pushed their games back more.
Yeah.
Whether they needed it or not, I don't think they'll ever tell us. But perhaps it is a little bit of a scare that they were given that triggered them to be like, okay, let's just give our games more time just in general, just to be safe. Because for those who don't remember, the whole debacle, I was about to say debacle, that was around, that resulted from Cyberpunk and the controversy from it, was so massive that it even caused shareholders from CD to attack the company, which,
Yes.
again, it's one thing to have your fans attack you. It's another thing to have your shareholders attack you.
Yes.
The people who are greedy, typically,
Yes. Slight
and
problem.
only interested in
Slight
financial
problem.
performance. The people who don't care about morality only want financial performance. If they're attacking you, there's a problem. Oh, technically I should say there's a problem in both cases, because if your fans are attacking you, it's probably due to some morally depraved thing you did. Whereas if your stockholders are attacking you, well, that's a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to summarize it. So I think it scared everyone into kind of pushing their games back, just to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah, to make sure that things don't get, you know, cyberpunky.
Because nobody needs that scandal on their record. Well, anyone else, at least.
Yes.
But yeah, there we go. I really, like, there's only so much. I swear I had more for this topic. No, how long have we been going for again?
20 minutes.
God dang. I thought we'd get more out of this topic when I picked it, but in retrospect, there really isn't much we can discuss here.
I mean, it's more of like a psychological thing, because at the end of the day, it's really something that you can't really figure out when it comes to these companies. Like, why do the companies suddenly decide now is the time to be doing that?
And there's some major releases. And like I said, typically we don't see game companies all release around the same time within a few weeks of each other because of, financial problems, because then it's just bad business to release a bunch of stuff at one time, because then you're just going to make everything suffer financially, because
Yeah,
humans don't like given too many choices that revolve around money,
money.
because then you have to pick between this or that. And the initial release numbers or initial sales performance numbers are always going to be what people look to for kind of results, both in the industry and out of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like movies in that regard, where opening week is kind of the thing everyone kind of looks to for reviews and performance and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
like how well did you perform during this very specific time?
which is why they tend to make sure they don't have any competition, so they can get the most accurate numbers as possible, based purely on accurate, how well did we do versus, oh, we had to contend with a bunch of other people as well.
Yes.
There have been a few times in the game industry where that has happened, though I cannot, for the life of me, though that's probably due to my shit memory, think of any examples specifically off the top of my head, outside of, like I said, Cyberpunk, which caused a lot of people to push their stuff back as well to stay out of their release month.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, one example of this, which actually resulted in a lot of memeing, was Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing releasing at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
Which caused a lot of dichotomy back in 2020 between, like, either this or that.
Yeah. I mean, it was more of a joke
things.
between both the devs for Animal Crossing and Doom. Like, they both joked around about it, and they kind of, in a way, made their own, like, universal lore with the whole thing. So, you know. You know.
Doom guy and Animal Crossing. That's a Doom game that I want to see.
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Doom, the retirement years.
What happens when the secretary goes insane?
God damn it, Miss. God damn it, Nook. I'll get you yet. Somebody just snaps and tries to kill Nook.
Yes.
Oh, God. The longest running joke in Animal Crossing of Nook being a greedy bastard.
Yes.
Someone just snaps and tries to kill him finally.
Your soul required now.
I'm just picturing somebody jumping Nook, but anyways.
Yeah.
Just jumping a raccoon.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun, because, I mean, everything's releasing out at the same time, so there's going to be a lot of people, like, scrambling to go and get all the things that they'd like to play and all that.
Indeed. That is very true. I feel like you were going to say something else, but I just cut you off. Did I just?
Not really, no.
Okay, good.
Like,
I felt like I did.
Like, it's just it'll be interesting to see because a lot of people are going to be basically kind of just all over the place. It's like, what game do I play now? What game do I play now? Like, it's gonna be
Hmm.
it's really going to be thought provoking to say the
Indeed, it
least.
will certainly be a busy month, and probably the busiest month probably of the year, I suspect, because of all these big releases. Like I said, we've got Horizon, which is PlayStation's massive title. We've got Elden Ring, which kind of is tilting towards PlayStation when it comes to things. At least I'm playing it on PlayStation when it comes out.
Yeah.
I think it's also on Xbox as well. You have Dying Light, which is the long-awaited sequel to the first Dying Light, which is a wonderful zombie survival horror game that come from the guys that made Dead Island back in the day.
Yes.
So there's a lot of substance here to work with, plus all the other things that are coming out within February. Like, apparently, as I've only recently learned, a new edition for Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
What are we on like 65th edition at this point? Ugh. I think that was just a Switch release. I think.
Maybe.
I swear that game has been just.
It's all over the place, my guy.
I remember when Disney was actually side topic here, when they used to make their own games. Nobody really remembers this because it was way back when, but Disney used to make their own games in house. Fun
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. And then they stopped.
And there was a few good gems that came out of it, and not all of them were based around Disney characters. Some were indeed original IPs they thought of, like Spectrobes.
Yeah.
Anyone remembers that old DS game? And a Wii game for a little bit. Had good music, but eventually they were like, yeah, we can't really. I think they were like, we don't really know the games industry. Someone do it for us.
Do it
And that's
for
when
us,
Square
please
Enix came
help
in, and they're like,
me.
we'll do it. Honestly, that's when Square Enix came in, and they're like, oh, we'll do it. And thus Kingdom Hearts came to be, and
Yes.
the timeline of Kingdom Hearts is kind of like Final Fantasy, in that you need 1,000 IQ just to understand it.
Yeah, there's a fair amount going on.
A big brain moment where you have to understand it all.
Big brain time.
First they're here, then they go back in the past, then they go to the future, then they meet the future selves, which go then themselves back into the past, which universal paradoxes.
Yes.
It's like you give a scientist a Kingdom Hearts timeline, they'll just start screaming about universal paradoxes for some reason.
Why not? Why
Uh,
not? It's your insanity is required.
Honestly. But yeah, bunch of stuff coming out. Like I said, in the case of Horizon Zero Dawn was a massive success for the PlayStation
Yeah.
back in the day. Well, I don't want to say back in the day because it was for the PS4. And I think I can't remember if it was an early game or a later game for the PlayStation. Hold on, one moment.
Just a moment,
Let me
please.
research again. Real-time researching. 2017 was its initial release date. When was the PS4's release date? So 2013. So a bit later in. But it did end up becoming a massive success for PlayStation. And when they were kind of picking games that would be used as their kind of staple games, so to speak, of the next generation, kind of like how Crash and Sly Cooper and stuff were kind of the old Vanguard back in the day.
Yeah.
And Nathan Drake was kind of like the heralder of the PS3 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is kind of their set for games for the current era. That, Spider-Man, and God of War, which will come out probably when Ragnarok itself happens. Who knows? God of War Ragnarok coming out At Ragnarok, probably. Um, Norse mythology joke there for you. But
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of big title games to look forward to, and it's weird to think about that they're all coming out at like random moments during February, almost all at the same time. And it's
like
weird.
Elden Ring's near the end, Dying Light's near the middle, and I believe Horizon is somewhere in the middle, or Dying Light's in the beginning, and Horizon is somewhere in the middle. So I
Yeah,
guess they were trying to semi-space it out by doing that, though I suspect not.
yeah. Well, you know.
But again, it is an interesting point of reference for it's like here's a bunch of well-expected games all within the same month. Yeah, your finances aren't going to struggle at all because of that.
Yeah, have fun.
I mean, I will be playing all of these games when they come out. Well, maybe not Horizon immediately. I have to budget somewhat for these games.
Just a
I'll
bit.
be certainly playing Dying Light when it comes out because I have that pre-ordered, as well as I'm planning to pre-order Elden Ring. And I already have a copy of the new Witch Queen thing released, and this is a channel that likes to cover Destiny, I think I can say definitively.
Bungie is covered.
Bungie is well covered in this channel. Bungie sent us free shit.
Provide me my money.
Provide. Uh, but um, but yeah. So we will certainly. I think I can say we'll be covering that when it comes out.
Yeah.
See how that does.
Hmm.
There's a lot to talk about. I think Paul Tassi actually recently did a piece on like where is the well expected ending to Season of the Lost,
Yeah.
and he was hoping there'd be some like his dream scenario would be a live event, right? He said, but he's like if or a weekly thing, and he's betting that it would that the earliest we'd see it would either be yesterday, which was last daily reset, or next week possibly would be the best times to release the kind of ending to that storyline,
Yeah.
because it would be kind of stupid just the week before Witch Queen, kind of where they're like, okay, here's the final story mission, and the game just shuts off for a week after that. Kind of like what they did with Beyond Light when
Yeah.
that was going to come out. The universe has died. Game shuts off.
Good luck.
Honestly, that was a precursor to how the MMO, how Destiny will eventually end. The universe will be swallowed by darkness, and it will just be congratulations, you win on the screen.
Game
End
over.
credits. Game over. You didn't fight the darkness. The darkness wins. Credits roll. The depre. We'll label that the depressing ending.
Are you prepared for the depression expression?
The depression expression. New song.
Yes.
State of confusion. Anyways. But yeah, so there's
Yeah.
that game to look forward to, and of
There's
course,
there,
as I've been mentioning,
there's
yeah,
plenty to look forward to. There's much to enjoy soon enough, and it'll be fun, really, because yeah, it's like why February? Why at the same time? Why are you all of a sudden,
admittedly,
you know?
actually, I just thought about this now while you were speaking. Elden Ring also got delayed to February. It was actually planned for, I think, December as well,
There you go.
but then they got pushed it back to February. So all these games were like kind of scattered throughout the months, and then they were all pushed back to February.
Yep.
And in the case of, like I said, Elden Ring, for a little bit now, it's been one of the most well expected games uh, in more recent times, due to the fact that R.R. Martin, the guy who wrote Lord of the Rings, is also co-writing, or should I say, working on this game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in his own words, he kind of provided the background kind of lore and history for the game, which as a lore buff is basically my entire area of expertise.
The lore.
The lore!
Finally, precious lore.
Honestly, I have to do something for for all the months I haven't been able to do anything in Destiny.
Yep.
Dares of Eternity was fun, but has absolutely zero story
Well,
implications. Well, okay,
well.
maybe the dungeon, but that's it.
Mm,
And I mean, Zur himself, after you get the catalyst for,
get your ghost spayed and neutered.
I mean, even like Zur himself admits when you get the catalyst finally for Forerunner through the dares that whole bit with the Dares of Eternity is just kind of a pocket thing. It really means nothing, and that once that goes away, everything related to it will vanish, and Zur's memories of it will disappear as well, and stuff like that. A little bit depressing, but it's like
The
none of
Star
that
Horse, all this
really
happened,
matters.
not anymore.
Honestly, it's like kind of like, oh, none of that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The only thing you could kind of be like lore-wise is the dungeon, which is Grasp of Avarice, but that's kind of a self-contained story. So,
Yeah.
meh. Which is also a fun fact I've learned recently, a Goonies reference.
There you go.
I never watched that movie, so I did not realize that.
Well,
Shout out to the people who watched that movie. And
yeah, yeah. There's something that you learn for yourself.
You learn every day. Insert the meme again. The more you know. Anyways.
There you go.
But anyways, Destiny can wait till its day of coverings.
The day will come.
We'll cover that when
The day will
the
come.
day will come. The Witch Queen breaks out of her crystal, and we're all like, "Well, didn't see that coming."
Totally did not see that coming. Oh wow.
Oh well.
I didn't expect you to go and start attacking me. Oh wow.
that'll be what happens when Savathun finally breaks out of the crystal. Mara's gonna be like, "No, how did this happen?" And every guardian in the world's gonna be like, "Yeah, didn't see that happening at all. No, no, no."
Oh wow. Some kind of taken portal being able to save you. Oh wow. that's
Bad
my
Queen,
bet.
back to your
No,
dreaming
no,
city.
that's literally gonna be my bet. Is like some kind of taken portal is gonna open up last minute and save her.
What, Marasov?
No, Savathun.
I don't know how. She has no control over the Taken anymore.
That's the thing.
Unless
Unless
frickin' Zivarath just abducts her.
either that something like that happens, or some weird way back to the Korea thing.
Nah, I think it's been pretty knocked down at this point that Corey is dead. I think we can safely assume that.
Not still. I have a feeling some taken mumbo jumbo is gonna happen, and it's gonna save Savathun.
I feel like Savathun will just be like, "I'm out, peace," and just teleport away. And everyone's
Arriba
like,
adios, master.
"No, Savathun, come back!" Oh, damn it!
Just arriba adios, master. My people need me.
My people need me. Whoosh, gone. Everyone will just be sitting there. No, Savathun.
How could you?
How could you do it so obviously? Guidel, we still have those nukes.
Yeah.
Honestly, a side note for Destiny. Well, I want to say side note for Destiny. We've kind of been on a side note for a while now. It's kind of been there for a little bit. Kind of late, but it's kind of funny when you look at the trailer for Witch Queen, right?
Yeah.
And you've got this segment on Mars with like a cornfield and stuff like that. And I don't know why, but if you've seen the movie, like the M. Night Shyamalan movie, I believe it was, Signs, and the aliens in the cornfield, and plus that old, kind of stereotype of aliens coming down into like farms and going through cornfields and shit like that. I'm like, really, Bungie?
Yes.
Are we just straight up making an extraterrestrials reference?
Yes.
Aliens in the cornfield?
Yes.
They're not gray this time, they're white as heck. At least I think they're hyper white. Well, no. In the case of Savathun, her brood is crimson for some reason. Just be freaking different.
You know, it's weird to think about real quick. Real side note. Um, Sabathun's little crimson guys on the moon. They're
Hmm.
they're they're loyal now to Zebu Wrath all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So what's going on with that?
Well, the logic was that technically there was this civil war going on the moon after Crota died, and his daughters were like, "Okay, we are in charge," and everyone's like, "No, no, you're not." So they were trying to keep power. So through essentially a glorified fighting pit,
Hmm.
and Savathun kind of reached out and was like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
have an idea.
It's like, hey,
Build a spire of crimson,
I
and
exist.
I exist." And that kind of she was like, "Build a spire of crimson, and thus you will have the strength to challenge the guardians," which I think we've deduced at this point was just her screwing with them, just so they would end up killing themselves after drawing the guardians there, because that's never a good way to fight the guardians, is draw the guardians there through a massive giant spire.
Yes.
But
Draw their attention, please, while I do this.
well, I run away. But so that happened. So this kind of allowed her to if you'll pardon the Aladdin reference, kind of Jafar her way around the whole thing, where
Yeah.
she was kind of in charge indirectly, kind of like pulling the strings here and there. And
Oh, there you go.
her red dudes were kind of a sign of loyalty, because I think, as far as we can tell right now, red is her kind of brood's color. So they all kind of dyed themselves red as kind of a loyalty to her. Though recently they've all begun just searing that red off them. In fact, there's even lore this season where one of them was like, he burned the red off his carapace to kind of get rid of any kind of loyalty to Savathun,
Yes.
because now Zebu Wrath is in charge. And I don't know, maybe her forces are green. I don't fucking know at this point.
Yeah,
Funny though,
there's.
green hive.
Yeah.
No, they're blue. She's a blueberry.
Ah, yes. The Guardians have their blueberries. We have better ones.
I am the god of war.
Our
Comes out.
blueberries are more crunchier than yours.
She'll just come out of some portal. It'll be like, I am the god of war, every guardian. Ha ha, blueberry.
Well, there you go.
But
There's
there
that.
you go. There's your Destiny lore lesson for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but we'll cover that. Oh, I want to say we'll cover that when the time comes, but we've already freaking been covering it. So
Yeah.
just forget that.
I mean,
I'll cover it more when the time comes.
back to the main point. Really, it's
Back.
there's not much that you can really do with the topic we have of releasing coming out all in the same time, because we don't really know what they're doing. We don't know what the companies are planning. We can only really speculate and only know until once when they actually do it. And it's just one of those things that you can try to dive into the psychological nature of the mind, especially that of a business mind, but you're not going to get far.
I mean, take it from a guy who's in business right now. It usually just boils down to something to do with something money reasons.
Yeah,
But
something money.
I mean, it kind of like in a kind of self-referencing joke here. If we had a script for this show, I think the word on it would just be one word. It would just be stretch for 3 pages.
Yeah.
Which is kind of admittedly what we've been doing. I won't even lie.
Well,
Get more ammunition out of this topic, but well, at least I've been unintentionally doing it. Not intentionally, mind you.
yes.
Can't say anything about our editor. But still.
Yeah.
It is an interesting, kind of point to talk about, of like everything got pushed back from like games that had kind of cult followings for Dying Light, compared to games that are massively expected in the case of Elden Ring, to games that are expected and are flagship titles like Horizon Forbidden West, or let's say Horizon Zero Dawn. Weird naming conventions for that game. But anyways, unique actually is their naming convention. I don't think it's weird.
Unique.
But anyways, unique.
Original.
That freaking are you special? No, are you unique?
Yes.
But anyways, it is an interesting point to discuss that everyone wants to get it in. Again, it might boil down to the fact they want to get it in the first quarter, though why everyone chose February specifically, I don't know. It also might have to do with them getting scared about becoming the next Cyberpunk, because I do believe when all the releases started coming out, there was more controversy starting to flare up around Cyberpunk again. Though don't quote me on that one. I'm just vaguely remembering, I think, from memory. So there is that possibility you could explore.
Yeah.
But anyways, I have a knee-jerk reaction to ask how long we've been going for again, but
45.
okay, we can work with that.
Run on episode, guys. Run on episode.
Run on episode.
But I'll make a side note here for anyone who is potentially interested. Currently, I am playing on a campaign map that I have actually made myself. So ignore the fact that I already know where everything is, what's what. Like, I do this, and boom, look at that. Hive. Zerg.
Yes, the Hive just started appearing out of the game. God dang it.
It's like,
the Hive are in
I do
Starcraft.
that, and it's like, boom, potential expansion that you don't actually need, but Zerg, ooh. Like, yeah, this is a little campaign that I've been working on, and, you know, I don't know where the hell to post it if anyone actually would want to play it, but, you know, it's there, it exists, it's being made.
I mean, that does kind of bring us into an interesting joke where it's like we're talking about a bunch of new releases, and you're playing a game from like 2001.
Yes, but I'm playing this because I'm actually working on my own custom campaign for this, so technically, you know,
there is a
production of a game, not really.
Careful, the last time someone did that, they got sued. Well, no, they probably would have gotten sued had, well, no, the last time someone did that, League was created. Or was it Dota 2? I can't remember.
Well, you know.
No, I think it was Dota.
It was one of the games.
Ugh. Last time someone made a custom game, they created an entire franchise. And Blizzard has been pissed ever since.
Well, you know.
I mean, there was a clause in their contract recently, I think, when they were putting in creation mode for some of their games, where they're like, oh yeah, if you make any custom maps, we claim right to them automatically.
Yes.
And I think that was just a response to like the creation of things like either Dota or League. I can't remember which came out of like.
I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know why the AI does this. Like, I didn't place these buildings here, but for some reason the AI has the need to place. Like, they have their command center that I placed, and then they have this need to build a command center right beside their existing command center.
The one you built is not good enough. Obsolete.
Apparently, our command center must be further away from our resources.
They have to be special. They need to pick it themselves.
Yeah. Oh, well, what can you do?
Machine independence.
Yeah, truly machine independent. Well, there you go.
But there you go. There's a little discussion on our piece of why things are, you know, getting pushed back to February. I swear I thought I had more content for this piece when I first picked it, but I guess not. But
it's just one of those things where it's just, eh.
It is one of those points of like discussion where it's like, it's weird, but you know. So anyways, I guess we'll work with that then.
Yep.
Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, get our numbers up. I'm hoping we can get to 20 subscribers eventually. Or 50.
Get our numbers up. You know you will subscribe. You know you require ever so slight entertainment. You know you like it. Subscribe.
I heard that when you made that slip up. Were you trying to go for a musical thing at first and then you changed your mind at the last minute?
No, I didn't go for a musical thing. I don't know what you're hearing. I'm just like, subscribe, do it. Technically, I was doing a Technoblade thing, but you know, that's a Minecraft thing. It's a Minecraft, another old game in this one's eyes.
Hey! They were bought by They were bought by Microsoft recently, and now they've been like thrown onto just everything Microsoft owns. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing because it's old, but you know, it's a lot newer than StarCraft. I'll give you that much.
Yes.
But anyways, so thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this again shorter episode. I swear I had more to talk about here, but it is what it is. We don't have scripts, so we just kind of go with it.
Yeah,
We'll go with this.
we just do what we do.
Kind of the good part about the show is we don't have scripts, and we just kind of do what we do. But anyways, hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next week. Good night.